Case 1st and 10 now for the Toppers from the 26.
Clock restarted after the first down. Francoeur looks at the blitz, gives it to Demers, and Demers is thrown down by Louis Bourbano for Hanover, coming in from his linebacking spot. And he was able to pick the spot and bring down Demers with no problem.
A little bit of a loss on the play. Be a 2nd and 10 now. Clock is under 7 minutes to go. We're down to 6:45 to go here in the ball game. Once again, the Toppers with a 35-point lead in this Division IV semifinal game, looking to get back to the state championship game next year, or next week, excuse me.
Straight T formation for the Toppers. 2nd down and 10. Off tackle it goes to Gagnon. Ryan Gagnon, who's been busy kicking all day long, now gets some work from the halfback spot. He'll pick up a couple of tough yards, and that's about it. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 8. But that's academic right now, as with 6 minutes left to go, Somersworth will post a big win against Hanover today and play one more week. Will it be against St. Thomas or Bishop Brady? Toppers probably want it to be against St. Thomas. Offside, check that procedure against Toppers coming up. And again, Ben, there were over 2,000 people at Dunaway Field for that last matchup. I would expect that if it happens again, there will be a few more.
And I can tell you, too, the way the thing kind of shook out, not everybody that wanted to see that game made it to the game because they didn't know the game had been moved.
Or the day changed.
Right.
It was rained out on a Sunday.
Yep. Somebody I know was a little bit upset because they were driving all around trying to find it. So I think he knows where the next game is going to be, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are going to be rooting next week for this local Division IV state championship game.
This is Cuthbertson. Dave Cuthbertson, a sophomore, over the 30. He will not get near the first down because it's going to be 4th and long, 4th and 12.
Actually, have you heard if there's been any decision made? Should it be St. Thomas?
I don't know if St. Thomas has requested from the NHIAA to move that game. It is an NHIAA contest, with it being the playoff game. But we know that the St. Thomas Saints, if they win this weekend, will be the top seed, and it will be their option.
Of course, then again, probably with Dover in the playoffs next week, they probably won't be able to play there on Saturday.
Good point. That would be interesting.
So next week, it'll probably be at St. Thomas, everybody.
Oh, that would be beautiful. People at home are saying, what are they talking about? There's another game that we know is going to be at Dunaway next week, and that's going to be Dover taking on Bishop Girton. Exeter Bluehawks will be in Manchester at Gill to take on Trinity. In other playoff action, Marshwood is playing South Portland today, Ben. We saw that game here on Channel 12 earlier this season. Marshwood played very well against South Portland. That game could have gone either way.
Yeah, they really did. There were some mistakes in that game, but a very well-played game. And if Marshwood's to make it on and play next week, they're going to have to end that huge Class A winning streak.
Dallas Hood down the sideline against the Somersworth second defense, still on his feet. Dallas Hood is going to go all the way for a touchdown, so there goes your shutout. It's going to be 78 yards for Dallas Hood. And Hood got the pitch after Hanover took over on downs and goes 78 yards to make it 35-6.
Well, that does take care of the shutout question, but in any case, it is still 35-6. We're under 5 minutes to go now in this ball game as the clock is stopped at 4:37, awaiting the extra point attempt. But a nice job by Dallas Hood to work around to the outside and get it down the sideline. Looked like he might have had a little bit of a tug on the face mask, but he shook it off and took it the rest of the way, and the extra point gets blocked. Just to add a little bit more insult to injury for the Marauders today. They can't get the extra point in, and the score remains 35-6, and they will now get a chance to kick off to the Toppers for the first time today after a score.
Well, certainly Dallas Hood not happy about the score so far, and he's a junior. He'll be back next year, but he's played a very good game on both sides of the ball and continued to impress the people here in Somersworth today. 4:37 to go, 35-6. But, Ben, you and I are going to have to do some research to still try and figure out how 4 teams could play at Dunaway at 1 o'clock next Saturday.
Well, maybe they can move one of the games to a night or something. Dover-Lovitz night football game, so maybe they can just change the times, because the way that the layout is at St. Thomas, I don't know if they can handle the amount of people that are going to be over there next week.
We may be jumping ahead of ourselves. We don't know if St. Thomas is going to be there. We do know that Somersworth will be there, leading 35-6, 4.5 minutes left to go in the game. And the Toppers right now getting ready to await the kick, which will probably be of the onside variety.
So we're talking about the Marshwood-South Portland matchup, and if Marshwood's able to win that game, I mean, South Portland is one of the top 10 ranked New England schools.
Right, right. And they only beat the Hawks by a touchdown last time.
Right.
In what was one of our best games here on Media One this season. It was very, very hard hitting and well played on both sides of the ball.
Sort of a little interesting side note, South Portland does have the longest Class A winning streak ever in Maine. If Marshwood could beat them, they would love to be able to, because Marshwood does hold the longest winning streak ever in the state of Maine. I believe it was over 50 games.
Hood ready to kick off, and he lets it fly. It's picked up by Gagnon. Gagnon goes to the ground wisely at the 35-yard line. So with 4:32 to go, Somersworth will send out its second offense one more time as Coach Jim Keys giving some of his underclassmen some playoff experience.
And before I confuse too many people out there, although Marshwood's winning streak is over 50, that is not all of Class A. That included Class B and C football also.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I just wanted to make sure.
We don't send your cards and letters to Ben Cloutier, care of Media One. Off tackle, it's Demers. Demers finds a hole off the near side and gets the ball up to the 39-yard line, a gain of 4, second down and 6.
So still we're seeing the Topper offense just pounding it away as they try to run the time off the clock and get this game over and try to leave Somersworth today without any major injuries. And just look forward to that state championship game next weekend.
Off tackle, Alex Jacobson gets over the 40, up to the 44. Close to the first down marker, but he'll be shy by about a yard.
It's tackled by Rob Plamondon, who was trying to strip the ball away, but wasn't able to do so and just threw him down, and setting up a third down play now for the Toppers. Clock down to 3:35 to go.
JVs come to the line. First man through gets the first down and moves the pile forward. How about that?
Somersworth has done on the second unit particularly. He's found a lot of success here running it up the middle against the Marauders here. And they get another first down, and the clock continues to roll as it's down to 3:20 to go.
Alex Jacobson on that last carry picked up nice yardage into Hanover territory, now at the 45-yard line. The rain has held off. It's been a windy day here in Somersworth, and it's been a successful day for the Toppers. Off tackle is Chad Brown in the game. He's crunched at the line of scrimmage by Louis Barbano.
Louis Barbano, a sophomore, getting in, seeing some action, 6'1", 150 pounds. 2nd and 9 now from the 45-yard line of the Marauders. Clock with down to 2:40 to go here in the fourth period.
The story in this one, a big first quarter. Somersworth scoring 3 times to go up 21-0, and the defense has been there. Demers showing some good speed down the sidelines. So for you Somersworth fans, freshman Jesse Demers could be the future running back here in this Jim Keys offense that has Jason Lambert, a senior, Ryan Francoeur, a senior, Scott Hodgson, a senior.
And it looks like the Toppers are going to be more of a reloading team instead of a rebuilding team. Clock has stopped going out of bounds.
Off tackle, number 21, Alex Jacobson. Oh, driving forward down to the 7-yard line. Alex Jacobson at 5'9", 206 pounds. He's a load when he gets through the line.
And he was very hard to take down. They were trying to get him down around the shoulder pads, and finally fell down around the 2-yard line. First and goal now.
JV's matching up right now for both clubs. Off tackle is Chad Brown. Chad Brown inside the 5, gets to the 4. Stopped by Schaefer White.
Clock is now gone under 2 minutes. Setting up a 2nd and goal now from the 4-yard line. Somersworth just continuing to run the ball, take time off the clock. The wind continues to be strong at their back, but I don't think they'll be using that the rest of this game. Fumble.
Fumble on the play, and it looks like the Toppers recovered it, Ben.
Granted, it's the 2nd unit, but that's got to be something the Toppers have to be a little bit concerned about, is that was the 6th fumble on the day. They've recovered 5 of them, I believe, but you don't want the ball coming out that easily.
Somersworth trying to go for their average. They've been averaging about 40 points a game.
Right.
35-6 is our score.
And they're 5 yards away from doing so.
Mike Francor, the quarterback, gives it off tackle. Driving for the touchdown is Dan Timmons, a sophomore. Timmons goes in from 4 yards out to make it 41-6.
And it's pretty close to the average now. They've, during the season, averaged 40.4 points a game, given up just about 11 points, and right now it's 41-6. Staying right on track, as now they set up for the extra point and make it a 36-point lead. Should it go through?
Gagnon's been perfect today.
He's got a good leg, so it looks like if they ever really needed to get a field goal, it looks like he's the kind of kicker that can do it. 42-6 now with 1:10 remaining on the clock here in the 4th quarter. And the 2nd unit just picks up where the 1st unit left off, marches the ball down the field, and after scoreless 3rd quarter, they get 2 touchdowns now here in the 4th.
Somersworth on their way to the Division IV final next week. No word yet as to the outcome of the Brady-St. Thomas game, but we will remind you to check your video classifieds channel early in the week to find out where our Media One Sports crew will be next Saturday as we continue to follow playoff action along the seacoast.
So now the Hanover Marauders are setting up for what will probably be their final return of this 1997 high school football season of Division IV. Had a good season to get here. Just didn't have enough to beat the Somersworth Toppers on this Saturday.
On the kick, Salvatoriello picks it up at the 15. 25, gets to the outside. Tries to go down the sideline, slips at the 35-yard line with a minute left to go in the contest. Somersworth appears to also come out of this game without any injuries, Ben, which is an important factor also.
Yeah, it looks like the only thing they might have to be concerned about might be the thumb that's on Hodson's left hand, but like I said, it's something that's already pre-existing. It was taped up before the game started, but at least now with this garbage time, it gives him a chance to sit out and give that thumb some extra rest going into next week.
Well, the Somersworth juggernaut continues here in the 90s. Under Coach Jim Keyes, they have been a very difficult football team around the state when they were in Division III and then in Division IV. They continue to just dominate teams as they have today. 42-6 is our score right now, and that will probably be the final score as Dave Rakovin is in right now at quarterback. We've got a penalty as Somersworth may have too many men on the field, or there's a fumble on the play also, but we've got a flag.
Yeah, the one on the sideline to me would suggest some sort of offside.
Look out,
look out,
Jim Keyes, look out! And the coach gets the ice water as the Toppers celebrate a little bit with the 42-6, and he's got some ice down his back on a tough day like today.
Standing right out there in that wind, too. It probably isn't too comfortable right now, so he's really rooting for these final 38 seconds to get wiped off the clock. It looks like they've moved the ball finally against the Toppers for an offside call. It'll be a 2nd and 5 now, and the Toppers having to take a timeout, as with a little extra celebration going here down on the sideline, the Toppers weren't able to get out the required players for this next play.
They've only got about 8 bodies standing out there right now, and you get 11.
On the positive side for Hanover, Sam, this is the third time they've played Somersworth, and for the third time they will have lost to Somersworth, but it's been by the closest margin yet. Last year they lost by a score of 56. That's 52-18, and then 75-14 earlier this year, so it appears they might be finally, gaining some ground on what to do to play a team that's of Somersworth's caliber. They still might be a year or so away from being a strong challenge, but a better showing this time around than earlier this year.
So the teams will celebrate, Somersworth will celebrate and start thinking tomorrow about the championship game, which they have been in a few times and know what it's like.
Oh, just a couple, I think.
Off tackle, Rakoven gives it to Charlie King. Charlie King over the 40 to the 42-yard line. As we play out the string, Hanover jumps back into their huddle, trying to get off a couple more plays. But Somersworth will win here today at home in the Division IV semifinals. Get ready for the championship game next week. Off tackle, it goes to King again. King will not get to the first down marker.
That should do it.
Clock continues to roll as we're under 10 seconds. And Hanover tries to get to the line one more time as we're down to a couple. That's going to do it. Game is over, and you'll see the celebration on the field as Somersworth beats Hanover today by a score of 42-6, and it was a powerful win, Ben.
Yeah, if you were able to take a look at the final stats, I'm sure we would just see that Somersworth probably had close to 400 yards of total offense, and you take away that one play of Dallas Hood's, and Hanover probably wasn't very much into the positive, but they did get that big run off to avoid the shutout. But with Somersworth, we just saw a very efficient offense. They were able to hand the ball off to 3 or 4 guys effectively, and then a nice little pass play by Dobson to the quarterback that scored another touchdown. The defense scored a touchdown. Everybody did what they had to do, and a big 42-6 win in this Division IV semifinal.
Okay, in scoring recap, Ben, in the first quarter, the first touchdown was scored at 9:31 of the first quarter. Jason Lambert, set up by some runs by Hodgson, went 37 yards, and that made it 6-0. Gagnon's kick was good, and we were off and running with Somersworth with a 7-0 lead. The Toppers then came back with a nice drive, a 1-yard run capped off by Larry Francor, made it 13-0. Gagnon's kick again made it 14-0. And what may have been the turnaround play of the game with 2:47 to go in the first quarter, it was a big one when the defense scored.
Yeah, it was a very big play. I mean, it's 14-0, and at that point, the Marauders are still in it, but there was that fumble, and Nate Dureau was able to run it in for a touchdown, a defensive touchdown, 21-0 in the first quarter, and there was still about 3 minutes left to go in the quarter, but that really kind of put the nail in the coffin as the Marauders couldn't get anything going after that at all. And a very pivotal game is that just when you get that kind of play, it just jacks up everybody on both sides of the ball for Somersworth, and they're able to roll on from there. That's
the kind of play when you kind of know it's not going to be your day,
right,
when something like that happens.
And they did force, in the Marauders, they forced 6 fumbles today, but they're only able to recover 1 of them. So
that's right. So Somersworth ends the first quarter with a 21-0 lead. They score the clinching touchdown late in the second quarter. It was a 4th down play, and Somersworth goes to their bag of tricks. They give the ball to Scott Hodgson. He pulls up, throws the pass back to Larry Franco, the quarterback. He runs in 32 yards, and it's 27-0.
Yeah, because if it's not for that play, Hanover would go into halftime feeling pretty good about themselves because they gave up 21 points quick and early there in the first quarter, but by being able to shut out Somersworth in that second quarter, it might have been a whole different ballgame in that second half because the defense would have had that confidence, and then the offense might have been able to do something. But in any case, that pass play made it 28-0, and it just kind of put the ball right back into Hanover's hands to try to do something, and just weren't able to today.
Had a scoreless third period, but in the fourth quarter, Larry Francoeur throws a 40-yard touchdown pass to Jesse Demers to make it 35-0. Hanover gets its only score of the game with 4:37 to go on a 78-yard touchdown run by Dallas Hood. That made it 31-6, and the JVs get a score. Here late in the game with 1:10 left to go, Dan Timmons goes in from 4 yards out for our eventual score today, 42-6, Somersworth over Hanover.
And we heard an earlier score earlier, where St. Thomas with a 15-0 lead over Brady. If they were able to hold on to that, then we're going to see a very good, balanced Somersworth team try to go back to Dover next week and avenge that earlier loss, which a lot of people would look forward to. But Brady might have to say something about that, and just keep in touch with the papers to see what happened over in Dover today.
So make sure you check your video classified channel this week for our next playoff game here on Media One's New Hampshire Network. It could be a Dover game, could be Exeter, could be a Maine game. We're not sure yet, but we'll let you know early in the week here on Video Classifieds. Our crew here today, bringing you all the fine pictures. Brian McGoughlin, our key grip. Mike Pomeroy, our producer and cameraman. Ben Cloutier providing the color here today from Somersworth High School. I'm Sam Bruno, reminding you the final score one more time. Somersworth advances to the Division IV final by beating Hanover today, 40 points.